Jonathan, you need to be quiet, please. How you doing, Fred? I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Got to figure out why Judy is seemingly having some problems.
That's unusual. It seemed it would be me. It's been a while since I've done these.
Yeah, she just called me because I'm upstairs in my office and she's downstairs, and she just called me. She's like, it says that the meeting code is not valid.
So you're in a forest, huh?
No, I'm in Ron Swanson's office. But I can change that. I can be many different places.
Oh.
I could be hanging out with Joe Exotic.
Oh, good God.
I could be in the Batcave. I could be where everything's fine.
Yeah, see Colton and Zach, or Zach's.
I could be on The Office. I could be at Disneyland.
Oh, that's nice.
I could be on a nice beach with some waves and a nice little breeze. I could be in space.
Okay, that works for me.
I prefer Ron Swanson's office, though. All right.
Can you do the Oval Office?
If I could find a picture, I could.
You can't get one, supposedly.
There are so many pictures of the Oval Office, it would be super easy to get one. Although their masking isn't quite working right, because you can see with the way my thing is angled, like my lazy boy is bleeding through.
It's okay. See, Judy's online.
Yes.
Hold on just a second.
Let's see, Colton's voice
Colton's
is
there.
off.
He's just muted.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it set so that I have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you let Amanda in yet?
I don't know which one she is. There's like 3 people in the waiting room, so I will go ahead and let them in.
Just let them all in. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Can you see me still? Okay.
Yep. Can you see us?
Yeah, I hear Paul talking, but his thing's muted. Let's see what's going on here.
Paul and Colton are both muted.
Yeah. We're trying to get Amanda in too. So, oh, there she is.
I just saw her.
Okay. Good.
And she disappeared.
Did I just disappear too? Because I'm seeing like a little like call thing on here.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, that's weird. All right.
Yeah, basically, what will happen is anytime somebody's talking, their image will be the one that shows up.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to wait a couple more minutes and see if other people are in? Okay. Paul, can you unmute everybody?
Be right back.
Okay. Hey, Albert. Okay, so it is 6:33, and we're going to call the meeting to order. Talk about any concerns they want to bring up.
Real quick, before we get too far into the meeting, I just want to make sure everybody is aware the meeting is being recorded so that we can post it up to the Facebook page afterwards. So anybody not able to be here will be able to view it later. So just so everybody is aware, it is being recorded.
Okey dokey.
All right.
So does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Homeowners?
Yeah.
Actually, I do have one, and I don't know if it's already been addressed because everybody's driving less, but is there a way to extend the distance from the gates where the remotes will work? Because I feel like anytime I go to use it, I'm almost having to like drive my car into the gate to get the clicker to work.
Yeah,
That is-
more specifically 200th is
Yeah.
the gate that I have problems with.
I can have them raise the antenna again.
Okay.
Wasn't the problem last time with the antenna that it was opening both gates?
Yeah, that's an issue we have to be aware of. But I think we can move it to the other side of the gate. I'll have to talk to the gate people about that.
Okay.
Somebody's on the phone.
Yeah, does anybody else have anything they want to bring up just in general, like any comments, concerns, anything like that?
We just,
Yes, I'm a resident, my husband and I are residents on 18th Avenue, or at
Uh-huh.
18th Avenue Court East. And I've noticed that, I guess I've seen announcements on the Facebook community page of our community that people have been jumping the fence on 22nd, some mobile park, and
Mhm.
taking down the yellow caution tape around the play area. Is that being addressed?
I retaped the playground yesterday.
Okay. I don't know what we can do really. Like, I'm not really, I'm not really sure what we can do about like what the fence is doing over there. Like, how is it a 6-foot privacy fence or is it like just like a chain link fence?
I'm not sure what fence it is. I just saw an announcement that people that don't live here have been jumping a fence and coming on the ground and taking the caution tape down that don't live in the community.
Right. Okay. I mean, we can I'll check it out. I mean, if there's anything that we can do to like bolster the fence, then we can try to do that. But I mean, we've had problems with people coming in from that community for a while now. So I'm not sure what we can do, but we can look into it.
Okay. And just a second separate question is there's also, I guess, notably cars that are parked in the cul-de-sacs of people that don't live here and that are staying throughout the day or often staying several days
Mhm.
and doing drug activity. Is there anything being addressed about that in the community?
When I see it, I try to go and like I'll knock on their window and tell them that they need to leave, or we can call the cops. Like those are only two real courses of action that we can take.
I've
So-
actually called Pierce County Sheriff's, the non-emergency number once, and
Yeah.
they came out promptly within 20-25 minutes and asked them to leave the property, and they did. So the sheriff is pretty responsive to that, especially as a board member that calls them and says that they've been trespassed. They're pretty responsive to that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Does
I have
anybody
a
else
quick-
anything?
I have a quick follow-up to that question.
Okay.
I don't want to stir the pot or anything here, but is there a way for us to close the gates right now that the buses aren't coming in, or they don't have to come in? I mean, I know that was one of the main issues that we had before, where the buses didn't have clearance to come in or drive in. Amazon and everything else, you can add a note with your gate code, and I don't think that's an issue. Is there a way for us to open that for discussion, or is it out of the question?
Fred, you want to address that?
There's an issue on that because we have so many different delivery companies, from Amazon to On-Site, whatever their names are. And we just, somebody talking?
Oh, no, go ahead, Fred.
And we have a specific code for that. We could close the gates, but then, you know, the truck drivers, if they forget the code or there's a different truck driver, you know, we have a pile up at the gate, and, you know, it was just easier to leave it open and let them come.
Okay.
Did I hear somebody?
No, but I was going to ask you, Fred, is that the same issue with every other gated community then?
I can't speak for other communities. They may have a lot of them I've noticed leave their gates open during the day and they close them in the evening. Yeah, if the board decides they want to close them, it's nothing to have them closed, but then we'll have to get in contact with all the delivery services and, you know, give them a code, get a code for each one.
Okay.
It's, you know, for the trucks, it's a hassle. You know, the trash truck has to be able to get in here on Monday at a certain time, and, you know, the lawn collector comes in earlier than the trash collector, and the recycle collector comes in between them. You know, they're different times.
Okay. Well, I wonder too if there would be a problem with maybe you know, like with grocery deliveries and stuff like that too, because that's kind of it's not
Yeah,
it's
that's
not, you know,
another
meal
game.
delivery, but you know, people are getting more groceries delivered now than they have been in the past too. So I'm wondering if that might be an issue too, but I mean, that's something that we could talk to them about and see, Albert.
Well,
So we
yeah,
can,
Albert, there's enough of us home. If we see these people, we're, you know, you just got to go up and tap on the window and say, please leave. If not, you know, pull your phone
well,
out.
and I
and
think
call
too that
police.
part of this will get addressed when the rules get passed too, because we'll know who should be on the street and who shouldn't at that point in time. So I think that'll help a lot with it. So we'll have to see what happens there, but hopefully we can get that done. So, but yeah, I mean, Albert, we'll look into it and see if that's, you know, if that would be prudent or.
It's all good. I mean, I just thought that it would be worth the while, since I know that before the issue was the special buses that come in, and I totally get that, and I'm towards, you know, making it flexible for them. I, for a fact, have used several deliveries and they have that option for you to access your code. I don't know. I know that we don't want to give that code to everybody.
Yeah.
But it would be, you know, worth the while seeing, or even probably testing it right now that we're here. I just think that for me, I don't have an issue walking up to a car, knocking on their window, but God forbid that they're, you know, my wife's doing it and they have a gun or something and they're high and they wouldn't mind shooting somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just those things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something we'll look into. Okay. Does anybody else have anything?
I do. My name is Sergio Lopez. I am the owner of the property on 2001
Okay.
201st Street. And I would just ask that any communication is delivered to me, either via email and or mail, because my understanding is that someone, I don't know who it is, the vice president was very rude to my wife on an occasion. So I just want to make sure that everything that has to do with the property is directed to me and none of my family members.
Okay. No problem. Okay. All right, so I made a note of that, Sergio, so we'll make sure that we direct any communication to you. Anybody else?
Thank you, Becky.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, then I'm going to go ahead and close the homeowner session and call to order the regular meeting. So it is 6:43. So we're adjourning the homeowner session. And we are going to call the regular meeting to order at 6:44. Okay, so we're going to do a quick roll call. I'm Judy and I'm the president and I'm here.
I'm Fred and I'm the vice president. I'm here.
Amanda, secretary, I'm here.
Colton, I'm the treasurer. I'm here.
Zachary Motto, Sergeant at Arms, I'm here.
Okay, and we have a quorum. And then how many, Paul, can you tell me how many homeowners we have on the online right now?
Including myself, that would be 8.
Okay,
In
so,
addition to the board.
okay. Okay, so we have 8 homeowners present. That's awesome. All right, so we're going to take a look at the agenda. Okay, if you guys could just look at the agenda real quick. Actually, here. No. Can you enable screen sharing from me? Okay. All right, so here's our agenda. Does anybody have anything that they want to add or take off or whatever from the board?
I don't have anything.
Anybody else? Zach, Colton, Fred?
Not that I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, looks all right to me.
All right. So can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
And then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, perfect. All right, so the review and approval of previous meeting minutes. I actually don't have them on here because I'm slacking. Let me see here. These aren't going to get signed until the next, until we can meet in person again. But I can still get them up here. Oh, so that's not right. Okay. I don't think I even have them. Of course I don't. Okay, well, let's table that and we'll approve the meeting minutes the next time we can meet in person. I wasn't prepared for that, sorry. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and table that for right now. Okay, then we're gonna go over the financial statement review. We actually have new ones since I wrote that. So we have right now, let's see, sorry. $7,325 was transferred to the reserve account. That's less than what we wanted to transfer, but we also did like a huge transfer last year. So let's see here. Year to date, our total operating income is $44,108.31. Our total operating expenses is $23,397.60, which leaves us a net operating income of $20,000, $710.71. So we're doing good for right now. The dues that we're due in January are still kind of trickling in. So there's that, but yeah, but we're doing good for right now. So, okay. And the delinquencies, I haven't counted those up, but in February we had $86,283.10 in total debt, and that was 91 units total that are behind on their dues. So,
Judy, does that include people who don't pay, like where they pay monthly instead of semi-annually?
I'm guessing it does.
Okay.
So, but I'm hoping that will be fixed soon. So, and that's something we'll address here in a little bit too. So, but I mean, we do have people that have been in arrears for quite a while that that haven't paid. So we need to try to redouble our collection efforts there. Committee reports for the PIC committee. We had several PIC applications come in. There was only one that we denied, and it was to, and this was just like a couple of days ago that we denied this, to expand their driveway, because Pierce County actually has a code that requires you to not exceed 35% of permeable space on your lot. So you can't, so if you're putting in like a deck, like that's counted as permeable because water can flow through it. So it doesn't affect the drainage or anything on it. But if you're trying to put in like a concrete walkway, or you're trying to extend your driveway and stuff like that, that adds to the permeable surface, or impermeable surface, sorry, on your property. So we asked that one homeowner to go back to go to Pierce County and get the permitting for it before they can do anything else. The other ones were like decks and stuff like that. They had, good plans in, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So everything else got approved. And I think that's it for the PIC committee. I'm still working on the PIC manual, so that way there's like kind of a clear-cut idea of what we will approve and what we won't approve at any, for projects and stuff like that you're going to do around your home. So, and that's it for PIC. So, landscaping committee.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Our landscapers are on site, but at different times. They're a little backed up with the situation as it is.
Mm-hmm.
We have one. I've got to contact somebody else just to see if we can get another price for trimming around the ponds, just to make sure that they're being honest on it.
Okay.
And other than that, we're looking pretty good. Everybody, looks like a lot of people are getting a lot of yard work done, and we're looking good. So
yeah.
Working on getting a price to clean all the play equipment if and when the governor lifts the stay at home and stuff.
Okay.
And that is just a chain link fence over there between the park and the trailer park.
Okay. So do you think it would be worth it to look into what it would cost to put in like a true privacy fence? Because it's taller. I mean, 6 foot tall fence is harder to jump over.
How tall is it, the fence?
Their fence is probably maybe 40 inches, but we share that land with the power company.
Okay.
And they might block about that, trying to block it.
Okay.
We'd have to talk to whoever owns the power lines.
Okay.
Is that PSC down here?
Actually, I think it's Tacoma Public Utilities that owns those
Okay.
power lines.
We'd have to work with them, but any fence is going to cost money. I mean,
Yeah.
What about, the plastic pieces that you can put in the fencing so they can't like stick their foot in to climb over?
well, I think that fence belongs to the trailer park, not us.
Oh, so we can't touch it. Just
Yeah,
my
it's over on the other side of the towers.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something that, I mean, we probably won't be able to do anything with it right now, but we can look into it and see if we can find something to make it a little bit more secure on that side, I guess.
It's been an ongoing issue with a group of kids there with theft and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, so
definitely
that's something, yeah, we should definitely look
worth it.
into.
I don't know if that trailer park has a membership or if it's just individuals.
It's individuals. So, because I remember seeing all the stuff for that when I worked over at TPCHD. Like I remember seeing that trailer park on there. So, but yeah, it's just individuals, and so I guess we'll see what happens there. Okay, so we can look into better fencing between us and the trailer park. Okay. All right. Is there anything else for landscaping?
No, so far we're in good shape. Place is looking good.
Okay. And then parking committee, right now we're not really doing anything because, you know, we have to wait for the rules to get passed before we can really start enforcing what we need to enforce there. And then communications committee, Paul?
Okay, so a couple of things with the communications committee. First and foremost, we are always on the lookout for some more members. Right now it's only 2 of us, Judy, the president of the HOA, and myself. So if we go on vacation, we're both going to be gone and there will be no communications committee available. So we'd really like to get somebody else on the committee with us.
Hey, Colton, did you still, hold on a sec. Colton, did you still want to be on?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So do we want to, is it okay if we appoint you today?
Sure.
Okay. So let's, okay, well, I'm going to move to appoint Colton to the communications committee then.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Okay, but we'd still love to have more members also. Yeah.
Okay.
We're happy to have more than 3 of us. So that's the first part. The second part, and I'm going to share my screen real quick so that I can show you the web page that is now up and running for the HOA. It's ridgettsouthwoodhoa.com. Most of it is freely accessible, but you will see there are certain items that have a lock icon on them, and you do have to sign up for the web page in order to be able to view those. And we did that to maintain privacy within the community. But things like the governing documents, who's on the board, meeting minutes and agendas and things of that nature are all, as required, fully available to anybody who happens across the website. Obviously with some just basic news stuff on the homepage, and then, you know, the governing documents, which, you know, right now the CC&Rs and bylaws are the only governing documents we have currently. Once rules get approved, those will get uploaded as well. And then access to all the meeting agendas, minutes, and a link to where the videos are stored.
Just a point of thing, just real quick. The meeting agendas and minutes, I also uploaded all the meeting agendas and minutes from all the past boards too. So everything from this community's inception, from the time they handed everything over to the homeowners from the builder and all that kind of stuff, all of that's in there. So you can see every single thing that this board's ever made a decision on.
Cool.
And then in addition to the minutes, on the minutes page, the most recent meeting will also be embedded as a video there, as well as through the link. So so that's that. For the property improvement, once the manual is completed, that'll be here, as well as the application. And if you have signed up on the site, a way to submit an application through the website is there. Upcoming events, which hopefully once all the COVID stuff is done, the social committee is able to actually have some events planned, and we'll post the information about those there. Community forum, you know, this location one is just basically where is the community located. Classified ads, where people can post things if they have something that they're trying to sell or give away or a service. Right now, I think the only one on there is this one from one of the members of the community for doing babysitting for parents who are still have to go work to try to help out in the community. Then there's also a recipes area, just because it was something that came with the website, and we thought, why not? Seems like it'd be fun. It hasn't gotten used much yet. One of the features I really like, if homeowners decide to use it, as the pet directory, because they can upload not just the name, but also a picture. So if a pet gets loose, you can take a look real quick and see if you can figure out where the pet belongs and get it back home. Make life a lot easier for a lot of people. Contact us and some FAQs, and then just for the board members, a separate forum, so that in times like this where you can't get together to have the executive sessions, it's a way that they can have the discussion and all the data is there, so that should it ever need to get audited or anything like that, it's readily available. And as board members change out over time with, every year when there's the election, those board members will get removed, new board members will get added, and they'll be able to, so the former board members wouldn't be able to access it anymore, but the new board members can, and they can see what's gone on in the past. So that's the website in a nutshell. And that's all we have currently for the communication committee.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, let's go back to sharing this. All right, so let's move forward then. Social committee, nothing's going on right now, obviously, because, coronavirus has ruined everybody's lives. So there's that. The Rules and Regulations Committee, we're going to discuss that down in the new business. Unfinished business, the Parking Committee recommendations, we were handling that with the Rules and Regs Committee. COVID-19, so let's move on to new business. So the COVID-19 update, basically all the parks are closed. So please keep your kids away from the parks. Do not tear down the caution tape. I understand that, it's been torn down by kids from neighboring communities and stuff like that recently, but we're doing this to keep everybody safe. From what NHS is telling us is that or NHI, sorry, they're saying that the coronavirus can live on hard surfaces anywhere from like 8 hours to like 8 days. So we want to make sure that if somebody comes in contact, because we all still have to go out and do like grocery shopping and stuff like that. So if somebody does come in contact with somebody with coronavirus, we don't want to pass it on to their kids, and then, to older family members and stuff like that, or to family members that might have pre-existing conditions that might make it where they would get sick and die. So we want to try to keep that away from there. I think that's it for the update for that. We just want to make sure that everybody understands that they need to stay away from the parks right now. Okay, and then for the rules and regs, Zach, did you want to handle that?
Yeah, I can take care of that. Do you just want me to give kind of a detailed summary, or you want me to go through this verbatim?
I would say give a summary, and then so basically for all the homeowners out there that are listening in, what we're going to do is we're going to present it right now. We need to approve the spending to get the legal review done. And then we will also put it up after we present it tonight. Tonight I'll put this up on the website so that way everybody can review it. And then there will be a comment period. So you can either email us through the website on the contact us link. You can email to all the board members there, or you can just email, myself, or just Colton, or just Zach. So you can email all of us with any comments that you have, any changes you'd like to see, that kind of thing. And we'll take them into consideration. We are required to be reasonable in our implementation of the rules. So, we can't be draconian about it. We can't, be super cruel about how we find people or anything like that. Everything that we've put in there is stuff that I've taken from other communities, like their fee schedules and stuff like that. We're actually a little bit more lax than most of the communities in this area are about the fee schedules for fines and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's about it. But we can't, we're not adding to the CCNRs. We're just clarifying the CCNRs, just so that's clear. We're not adding a whole bunch of stuff that we can't add. And once it comes back from legal review, if there's anything at all that's not legal is going to tell us, hey, you can't have this in here. So that's something that we need to keep in mind too. So let's, I don't know, take it away, Zach.
All right. My name's Zach. I'm the sergeant at arms at the board, and I'm a committee member for the rules committee. So we'll start with the property improvements. The property improvement committee, the PIC or PIC committee, must approve all changes to the outside of any home or property. And some examples of that you need to get approval for would be a fence, carport, deck, hot tub or spa, play structure, tree house, a pool, satellite dish, awning, air conditioning, things of that nature, major upgrades to the exterior of our house that could possibly be seen from the street. With fences, you must apply for PIC permission. You must file at least 1 month before you wish to start building. Long life. For landscaping, we as the association are responsible, takes care of the landscaping in common areas. What you guys, the owners, are responsible for are watering and fertilizing your lawn and any street trees in front of your home. With that said, yards, we recommend that plants and grass be drought tolerant, no noxious weeds. Brown grass is not acceptable as it detracts from your curb appeal of the neighboring lots. Your grass must be mowed regularly and grass should not exceed 6 inches in height. Planting beds, owners must weed planting beds regularly. The planting in them must be kept trim and in good health. General landscaping, all landscaping must be trimmed to prevent overgrowth onto the sidewalks. Let's see here. Your debris in your yard must be raked and cleaned not to exceed 14 days as the debris can get washed away into the storm drains. So we want to keep those free and clear because that's our expense to take care of if they become clogged. Also, we as homeowners, the sidewalks need to be maintained of any weeds in the cracks in the sidewalk that are on your property. We do understand conservation is high importance in the Puget Sound area, and Rainier View Water sends out guidelines on when to water as to hopefully keep your grass green, but also conserving water. To enforce all these, we, the HOA, will only inspect and enforce landscaping standards on areas viewable from the street, sidewalk, along the lot edge. We're going to limit activities to the front yard. You cannot store firewood, bicycles, toys, trash containers, equipment of other sorts in the front yard. We ask that you clean up your pet waste promptly and no vegetable gardens in your front yard. Again, landscaping approval, you must apply to the PIC committee for approval of expanding planting beds, installing large shrubs or trees. Fire pits, I know this came up on the Facebook page the other day. Fire pits cannot be installed within 25 feet of a structure. And when we publish this, we've provided Washington, the codes in Washington and the RCWs for these. Gas fire pits, portable propane or natural gas are exempt from this rule. Fire pits may not be installed in the front yard and may not be visible from the street if installed in the backyard. If you have a fire pit table, such as the ones that might be sold with matching lawn furniture, it is permissible to place the table on your front porch, provided that it is in good working and well-maintained condition. Holiday lights, we do allow holiday lights to be displayed, but they cannot be put up more than 30 days prior to the holiday, and they must be removed within 30 days of the holiday.
Come here, let me see.
Unsightly conditions are a nuisance. For the benefit of the community, the association requires all property owners to be responsible for keeping their property looking clean, without no laundry hanging, litter, trash, junk, cans, bottles, ladders. You know, you want to keep the front of your house looking clean and presentable. Some exceptions, this does not include hose storage equipment, as that is strongly recommended, or similar items unless they became broken. This will also not include items contained within a fenced yard that are not visible. For sports equipment, a single basketball hoop within a driveway, or mounted on a house is acceptable, provided all parts are well maintained, no missing broken pieces, and no grime, moss, mildew. And the basketball hoop does not impact parking while not in use. We're asking that waste cans, trash, recycling, and yard waste not be stored in front of the house. It must be stored behind or in your garage. It cannot be visible from the street. Trash cans can be at the curb 24 hours before pickup and not to exceed 24 hours after pickup.
Okay, hey, Zach, hold on. So what we're saying here is we don't want them extending beyond the front facade of your house. So like if you're looking at the front of your house, if your trash can extends beyond the front of your house towards the street, then that's too far. So like if it's okay if it's on the side of your house as long as it's not coming forward from your front facade. Does that make sense? So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So for heat pumps and air conditionings, heat pumps and air conditioning systems of a permanent design must be installed out of street view, the backyard, etc. Many homes within the neighborhood do not have central air, and there can be large costs involved with that. We understand that. So we are allowing, sorry, I lost my spot. Houses with east-west facing windows can also have a temperature regulation issue. For these reasons, temporary window-mounted air conditioning units meeting certain appearance criteria are acceptable from June to September, and you must get PIC approval for that. All parts, again, must be clean, no moss, mildew, not undamaged. Window air conditioning units must be removed for windows between the months of October to May. The nuisances, examples of nuisances include parking on or otherwise blocking sidewalks, illegal drug use or dealing, prostitution, and use of off-road or non-street legal vehicles, i.e. four-wheelers, dirt bikes, unregistered or expired tabs. And we also put a link to the RCW for Washington on community roads or in common areas. And again, once we get these rules sent for legal review, they can tell us whether these are legally enforceable or not. But we do have RCWs that include these in the rules. For quiet.
Did he freeze up?
Yeah, he froze up. Okay, here you. Okay, go ahead. Try again.
So for quiet hours, we, the Ridge of Southwood, are going to follow Pierce County ordinance for quiet hours, which are from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And we'll follow Pierce County guidance for alterations.
Oh, froze again. Hold on. Okay, Zach, you froze up again.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Repeated complaints from neighbors will result in a notice followed by a $25 fine for the second notice, $50 for the third notice, $100 for the fourth notice, and $200 for each notice thereafter. Common area use. Common areas include the parks, the native growth protection areas, are for the use and enjoyment of the owners of the Ridge at Southwood. Pick up your trash. There is no trash service, so take what you bring. Don't leave any waste. It just makes more mess for us to clean up. Animals must be on a leash. They are not off-leash parks. And that includes, especially pick up their pet waste. Activities limited in the common areas. Only quiet activities are allowed. You may not plant, prune, or cut trees or shrubs in these areas. Open fires are also not permitted in common areas. The park hours, the playgrounds will be open for play from dawn until dusk. We're going to do a park rental fee. Due to potential damage from having large parties in our parks, there will be a rental fee of $50 to cover maintenance and to fix any damage that might occur. No commercial activities, including but not limited to bouncy houses or petting zoos. So now we're going to get on to parking. Parking space is limited at the Ridge at Southwood. Where you may park. One second, my laptop's acting up. All right, so where you may park. One sec, sorry, my laptop is acting up.
Mhm.
All right, I think I'm, oh, Judy, do you want to take over for a little bit on
Yeah,
the
yeah, I can do that.
parking? My laptop's not cooperating at the moment.
Okay. Okay, so for parking, for where you may park, in the CCNRs, it specifically states that you have to limit your parking to your garage and driveway first before parking on the street. And we've quoted the parts there where it says the covenant state, no lot shall be used for more than one detached single-family residential dwelling with driveway parking used for not more than 3 cars. And furthermore, the covenants note, vehicles shall not be parked on a driveway or street in lieu of being parked in an available space in the garage. And so we are defining available space as space for a motor vehicle to park. So the presence of furniture, workout equipment, leisure sports equipment, trash, and storage, unless storage does not prevent the parking of a motor vehicle.
Where
are not
did that
considered-
definition come from?
Where did that definition come from? That's just what
Yeah.
a garage by definition is meant for the parking of motor vehicles. So that would exclude all of these types of things. So that's where we got the definition from. So in the event that the construction of the house, prevents the ability to park the vehicle in the garage, it has to be documented. So either via picture or, just something that, so we can see that there is something in the construction of the house that does not allow you to park your vehicle inside the garage. Any vehicles with expired registration are considered inoperable and subject to immediate removal. And furthermore, we are going to be following all the rules of the road as set forth by the state of Washington and Pierce County. So that prohibits parking in an intersection, on a crosswalk or sidewalk, in a construction area, in front of mailboxes, within 30 feet of a traffic signal, stop sign, or yield sign, within 20 feet of a pedestrian safety zone, 15 feet of a fire hydrant, more than 12 inches from the curb, that kind of thing. So all the stuff that you guys had to, everything that we had to answer when we took our initial driving test is, we're going to follow those rules of the road. Also, when you are parking, for those who will be parking on the street, we would prefer that you park on the right side of the street. So if you're, don't park facing oncoming traffic. You need to park the way the traffic is going. So for RVs, boats, and commercial vehicles, this is already in the CCNRs too, so we're just restating it basically. Like, we're not allowing any permanent outdoor parking for RVs, boats, trailers, and operable vehicles, that kind of thing. They have to be either parked in a garage or stored off-site. For, if you're going to take your RV out, like, you already have it stored in an off-site and you want to take it out to go camping or whatever, you can request a 3-day pass if you need it for more than 24 hours. To make arrangements or if you need to make arrangements for permanent storage or loading and unloading, that kind of thing. So there's that. And then for commercial vehicles, we're defining commercial vehicles as any vehicle with dual rear axles or which exceeds 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight to be a commercial vehicle. And for variances, and this is important for everybody, we are granting automatic variances. A variance is an exception to the rule. So we're granting automatic variances for anybody with 1-car garages because, and we're allowing 1 car on the street for all those houses because we know that they don't have the space. A lot of those are still 3-bedroom homes and they don't have the space for 3 cars to be parked in the garage, in the driveway, and then on the street. So that's why we're doing that. We also have in this set of rules in Appendix A is a variance application. So if you feel like you need an exception to the parking rule for whatever reason, you need to be able to park a car on the street, you can apply for a variance, and the board members will review it on a case-by-case basis. And what we will do is we're going to order a bunch of parking passes. So basically, if we approve a permanent variance for you to park a car on the street, then you would have to display this parking pass on your rear view window. It's going to be like a plastic hanging one. And it'll be assigned, that number will be connected to the license plate number of that car and that house. So that way we always know, if there's a car in the neighborhood that's been sitting around all day or whatever, there's people in it, and they don't have that parking pass, then we know that they don't belong on the street. So, and if a parking permit is lost or stolen, there's going to be a $5 replacement fee to replace the parking permit. For visitor parking, because I know that that's always, that's been a big issue too when parking's been brought up in the past. Guests can park on the street for a maximum of 72 consecutive hours. So like, it's not like every single time you have visitors over, you're going to have to contact us. That's not how it's going to work. If you have a long-term visitor staying with you, like let's say, like I have, we have our friends from California come up to visit, and they're going to be here for 2 weeks. And I know that they're going to be parking on the street for a lot of that time. We might be taking our car to go places, that kind of thing. I would request a visitor parking pass for them to hang in their windows, so that way we know that visitor, that car belongs to our house. So that's the plan there. And the parking committee will have the parking passes. And if you need to request a visitor parking pass for a visitor, then you would have to get in touch with us, and we'd need the license plate number of the car, and then we would assign that license plate number to the visitor parking pass. None of these are transferable, so you can't just have a parking pass that's sitting at your house that you can give to whoever. Mostly because that can be abused, and people can try to use those visitor parking passes instead of asking for the proper variance to park on the street, period. So we want to make sure that we do have positive control of it, and those parking passes do cost money. So that's why it's going to cost, we need to have positive control of those at all times. There's going to be a $5 replacement fee to replace that parking permit if the permit gets lost or is taken away or is stolen or whatever. So there's that. Pets, for the most part, we don't really seem to have a huge problem with pets, but just so everybody knows that we don't allow animals to roam off leash. Signs, we did notice that there was a sign up by the front gate on 200th, and I did contact that realtor, and I think it's been taken down because I don't remember seeing it the last time I went out, but because I haven't really left my house since all this stuff started. But basically, we're not going to allow hand-painted signs or plastic signs because it takes away from the curb appeal of the community. And during political campaigns, we can't stop you from supporting whoever you support. That's all on you. But you may post up to 3 campaign materials from 30 days before the election to 5 days after. So so that way we're not kind of inundating our neighbors with campaign materials, all year round. We don't need to have that. And the signs may not block streets or sidewalks or be posted in planting strips along the side of the road. And then no signs whatsoever can be posted in any common area or on mailboxes. And you can ask for approval from the association manager, and then they can also remove a sign that violates that rule if you haven't asked for approval. So there's that. Business activities, basically you can operate a business in here as long as nobody knows by sight, sound, or smell or visitors. Just as an example, like I do freelance graphic design. You guys would never know that looking at my house though, because I don't advertise it outside of my house, and it doesn't make any noise. It doesn't make any smell, anything like that. And we want to try to make sure that, we don't have like excessive visits to the home by clients and customers, suppliers and stuff like that, because we already have a parking problem and we don't want to make that even worse. And we can't have businesses. We don't want people doing door-to-door solicitation because that's already banned in our community in the first place. So there's that. Garage sales. I haven't really noticed in this community a lot of garage sales being held at like all, weird times or anything like that, but just for organizational sake, we are going to set up community garage sales twice a year, like once at the beginning of summer and once at the end of summer, usually. And if you want to have a garage sale at any other time for any other reason, just ask for permission. And the chances are we'll probably grant it, because it doesn't really happen all that often. But we figure like community garage sales are actually really beneficial if you're trying to get rid of things, because because it's advertised. We can have like a sandwich board up at the front of the community, so people that are going garage sailing and stuff like that are really passionate about it will see it. But that way they're getting we're getting all the traffic in here at the same time. So if people are trying to get rid of stuff, that's the easiest way to do it. But like I said, if you want to have a garage sale at any other time, you can. Street trees and planting strips, we've had a lot of questions about street trees. You are responsible for your street trees, but you cannot remove them. You have to have permission from Pierce County. and all the stuff is in Exhibit B of the covenant for details. But when this plat was originally approved, Pierce County, and they do this with every planned community, Pierce County said that they say that, you know, they have a certain amount of trees that they want planted in each of these developments, and they want it done that way for a reason. So if you want to remove a tree, you have to talk to Pierce County, because they have specific trees that they want you to plant if you're going to remove one. Like, I mean, obviously if it's dead, we don't want a dead tree on your property, you know, that kind of thing. But any other trees and stuff like that, you need to talk to the county about it. For rentals in the community, to ensure a good balance of owner-occupied homes, the number of rentals we're going to limit to 35. The previous board had already limited it to I think it was 30. I can't remember the exact amount, but we've already exceeded that amount, and we are actually like right at 35 units that we know of right now, and I'm pretty sure there are more than that. So at this point in time, once these rules are passed, we won't be accepting any more rental units. So so that's something to keep in mind for people that are selling houses and stuff like that, because I know a lot of those rental companies like to put it in an offer on the house like right away. And they're offering to pay cash for it, so it's tempting to do it, but you have to make sure that they understand that there's that, you know, we only have a certain number of rental units left in the community.
Judy, will there be a waiting list?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you'll be put on a waiting list. Yeah, so like right now, like the last one that we approved is actually is one on 18th. But yeah, but I know that there are quite a few homes up for sale right now, and those rental companies like to come in and make cash offers like right off the bat. So yeah, the rental units must be owner occupied for at least 1 year prior to submitting the written request to the association. We can, you know, have exceptions on an individual basis with review. And we've had to do that before for like the American Homes for Rent and stuff like that. So, but it's important to have these like in our governing documents, so that way anybody who's planning on renting out the home, or any companies that are renting out, understand that they have to contact us first, so that way we have an accurate record of the number of homes that are being rented. So there's that. Yeah, that doesn't really. Yeah. Short-term rentals, you know, due to potential security concerns and parking congestion, we're not allowing any short-term rentals. So no Airbnb, no Vrbo, none of that kind of stuff. We're not allowing that. Retaining walls and slopes. If you're going to put in a retaining wall, you need to contact the PIC first. And a lot of times, if it's going to be over a certain height, and I think, Fred, what was the height that you said it was?
It's 40 inches, and if it diverts water.
Okay. Yeah, so if it diverts water, then you have to get permission
From the county.
Yeah, you have to get permission from the county, because we have to make sure that you're not going to, you know, end up unintentionally draining into your neighbor's yard and then slogging down your neighbor's yard. So you have to make sure you're not doing that. The living sounds resource protection. So that kind of, you know, just don't dump oil in the storm drains. Don't dump debris into the storm drains, that kind of thing. You know, just use common sense and you'll be fine there. And then also don't, you know, dump grass clippings and stuff like that on the common areas. Existing trees, and this is throughout this county, we have the same problem. We have these white oak trees that are homes to the red squirrel, it's like the western red squirrel or something like that. But their natural habitat are these Gary oaks, and so we need to make sure that we don't remove any of those trees. So there's that. And then, like I said, variances for any of these rules, anybody can apply for an exception at any time. The board will review it on a case-by-case basis, and we'll either grant or deny the variance. And we'll send a written notice to the owner informing the owner of the final decision. So in terms of the enforcement, for the most part, and it's like this in most of these HOA communities, mostly because the management companies cannot be in here every single day. A lot of times these rules are going to be mostly owner enforced. So it's going to be, most of the time it's going to be neighbors that call in about, they see something that they know is a violation of the rules, and they'll call in to the management company or they'll email one of us and let us know that. And so, so just know that it's not, you know, the management company doesn't have to see it in order for it to happen. If a homeowner calls us and says, you know, like, hey, you know, like our our neighbor has like, you know, I don't know, like a broken down furniture set on their front porch, you know, like that kind of thing. If something like that is happening, then we'll, and they have a picture of it that's, you know, dated and stuff like that, then, and they send it into the management company, they're going to send you a notice because it's a clear violation of the rules. And then according to our CCNRs, we have the board has the authority to impose a fine, to take any actions to cure violations, and then charging the owner for the work, that kind of thing. If there's any legal action that we need to take, then, you know, we can charge the owner for all legal fees incurred by the association. Like all of this stuff is in the CCNR, so we're just restating it here. For enforcement procedures, we're looking at a 3-step approach and a fine schedule. So basically the step 1 is the warning, you know, so we'll send a written request to the owner and say like, hey, you know, you're in violation of this rule, and this is, you know, please fix it within 14 days. If it's not fixed within 14 days, a second notice will be sent with a $25 fine. And then if the fine will go up to $50 if it's still not corrected, and then thereafter it's going to be $100 per each violation. We feel that this is the fairest way to do this and also the most reasonable way to do this. Just as an example, in our old community, in the old community that we used to live in, down at the end of Canyon Road, they were charging, like if you didn't remedy a rule violation, they were charging $25 a day for every day that you weren't in compliance for whatever. So, but we can also look at other remedies and stuff like that. So we're trying to find a way to be reasonable on how we do the fines and stuff like that. But just know that we haven't had fines, you know, like for a while now, and we need to start putting fines in place to get people to make sure they're following the rules of the association, because our number 1 priority is keeping the property values in this community up. And, you know, good looking lawns, people following the rules, and, you know, not having like trash in their front yard, you know, like that kind of stuff is going to go a long way towards ensuring that our property values keep going up. Stop work orders. If something is being done to a house and it wasn't approved by the PIC or the board, we can request a stop work order. So like if you're trying to do like major construction on your house, like let's say like for our house, like we don't have a covered back porch. So if I started doing construction to put a covered back porch on without getting approval from the board or the PIC, you guys could issue me a stop work order, and it would cost, you know, so we'd have to completely stop what we're doing, clean it all up, and then request from the PIC approval to be able to do that kind of stuff. If we don't comply with the stop work order, then it would be a $350 fine. And if I continue to not comply with the stop work order, I would be fined a separate $150 per week for that, because that's major construction that can really affect the, like the drainage into your neighbor's yards and stuff like that. Like it affects you and the people around you. So that's why we do that. For lien filing fees, just to make sure this is very clear, because it wasn't when we were with J&M. If we have to send out a notice that we're about to file a lien as a last ditch effort to try to get, you know, to get things paid, if we have to send out that notice, it's going to be a $50 charge. If we actually have to file the lien, it's going to be a $100 charge, and it's going to be assessed to the homeowner. So there's that. Late fees for assessments and fine payments. So for the fines that we were talking about above, like if you got a second notice and a $25 fine, if it wasn't paid within 14 days, then you would be charged a late fee. For assessments, if they're not paid on time, you would be charged a late fee unless you contact management to make payment arrangements, you know, that kind of thing. A return check fee, if you send us a check and it bounces, then there's going to be a $40 assessment applied to the owner account. For a transfer fee upon the sale of a property, we will do a $250 transfer fee, and that's to compensate the management company for their time spent transferring accounts and updating it with new homeowner details, that kind of thing. Rental units, if you choose to rent in this community from here on out, this won't apply to past rentals or houses that are already being rented, but in the future, they're going to be charged $250 per year. And for appeals, like if you get a fine and you don't, or if you get a notice and you don't agree with it, you are more than welcome to come to us at a board meeting and request an appeal, and we can review it and decide if we want to change our ruling on it or what the deal is there. And then we have a detailed fee schedule, so that way everybody knows exactly what the fines are for and all that kind of stuff. So for the parking variance application, we're going to have the owner, tenant name, phone number, email address, number of cars requesting variance. So if you live in like, let's say it's you, like you, your husband, and you have 2 teenagers, so you need, 2 cars to be parked on the street. So you'd ask for 2 cars for right here. For vehicle information, we need to know the year, make, model, license plate number, so that way, and then here, like, include additional vehicles here. If you're asking for a variance for more than 1 vehicle, you'd have to put down like the year, make, model, and all that kind of stuff there too. For the board, we'll note the date the application was received, approved or denied, the reason if we denied it, and then the signature and date. And then for the rules variance, like if you're asking for a variance to, let's say you have an issue with temperature regulation, like you have like an autoimmune disorder or something like that that makes it so you really need to have that air conditioner in your house all the time. You can ask for a variance request for that, and the reason why. So that's that for the rules. I'm going to open up the floor right now for comments and questions, because I know that there probably are some. So if anybody has anything they want to ask, now's the time.
I have a
Judy,
list.
Yeah, Fred?
hey, Judy, this is you're giving them a 30-day review
Yeah,
for approval?
so we're going to put this up on the website, and everybody will have 30 days to look this over. And then, like I said, during that time, like for people who aren't on the call today and stuff like that, during that time, you can send in comments and, questions or concerns and that kind of stuff to us. And then we're also seeking the legal review during this time too. So we're going to approve the spending for the money today to get the legal review. So there's that. And then once we do enact the rules, everybody will be given 30 days to come into compliance. So we're not trying to, like hit you hard with it right away. We want to give you guys time, and we want to give everybody time to be able to come into compliance with these rules to try to avoid fining anybody, because we don't want to fine people. We're hoping that everybody will comply voluntarily without any problems. So there's that. And then Amanda, you said you had some questions?
Yes, ma'am. So my first one is the crack weeds for the sidewalk.
Yeah.
You said that was homeowner responsibility, but the homeowners don't own the sidewalk, the HOA does. So can you explain why that falls on the homeowner if it's not our property?
It's in the CCNRs. That's actually part of the county, or it's part of the easement, because there's an easement that runs from the middle of the road all the way up to the sidewalk, and it actually extends into your lawn a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember in our old community, we had issues with the street trees actually being planted in that easement. So there was issues with how those trees were being pruned and stuff like that, because like they can't overhang the sidewalk or limit access. Like if anybody ever has to walk off the sidewalk to get around the tree, that's an ADA violation. So we can't do that. But for the weeds and the cracks in the sidewalk, I mean, I think for that, I mean, it's common sense. Like it's right in front of your house. You want the front of your house to look nice.
Right.
So I think it's common sense to do that. Okay, next.
So the signs, temporary signs, does that include like birthday signs? Sometimes you can, if you have guests over,
Oh, no,
then you
those are
put
fine.
like birthday party here signs in your front yard.
No, that's totally fine.
Huh?
That's fine.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
The
We're talking about signs that are like handmade signs that are put up like house for sale, like that kind of stuff. Like we don't want that kind of stuff, because usually the sale signs are the ones that we're really worried about more than anything else.
Okay. That better defines that for sure.
Okay.
And then rentals, I had 2 things. So as far as rental goes, does that include, like if I own my home and I rent out 2 of my rooms, would that fall under needing approval as a rental?
Well, we wouldn't allow that anyway, because that's kind of like the Airbnb kind of situation.
Right.
That's
So
considered,
yeah.
that's considered transient rentals.
Well, hold on, we defined it up here, so hold on. Yeah, that would be like a short-term rental, like if you're renting out a room, like that kind of thing. I know that we do have houses in our community that have like multiple
Families.
not really multiple families, like college kids, like that kind of thing. Like it's like the rental companies are renting out to to college kids. So, there are students at PLU, and there's like 3 or 4 different people in that house, renting out a room basically, but they're sharing the house. Oh, I can't hear you, Amanda. Try again.
Oh, I've turned it back on.
Okay.
So then my other question was, for instance, they're on my road. What's that? 19th?
Yeah.
Or 20th?
Yeah.
There is a house for rent.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is in line to potentially be able to rent their home, if that house goes vacant, is there a certain amount of time that it can be vacant before they then fall back to the bottom of the list? Or if that house is considered a rental, it's just a rental no matter what?
I think we addressed that. I just didn't say it. Let me see. Okay.
It's 90 days.
Yeah, is it 90 days? Okay.
So if the house is
Yeah.
vacant for over 90 days, then it can no longer be rented and they go to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, in the event that a rental is not occupied within 90 days, owners must reapply per Exhibit B D3 of the CCNRs.
Okay.
So.
And then the fire pits, you said installed. So is that not the standalone ones, but like where you actually like put bricks up and install a fireplace?
Yeah, but I mean, we're also
Or fire
referring
pits.
to fire pits like the like I know that they have like the gas ones that come with like the furniture sets, like the outdoor furniture sets that a lot of people use. So so those are included in those, but they're already exempt because those are oh gosh, I can't think right now.
Propane, natural gas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are already exempt by law anyway. So
standalone wood burning fire pits that can
we can't have those because that's a violation of the fire code. So we can't have those like in common areas and or within 25 feet of a structure.
Or 10 feet
Does
of
that
a
make
property
sense?
line.
Yeah, because it's an open fire.
Okay.
So
right.
yeah.
So with that said, obviously nobody's yards are that big here. So that would just mean basically you cannot have a wood burning fire in your backyard, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a fire hazard. I mean, you have to think about like how close all these houses are to each other. So,
Right.
like an ember could start a fire, and like if it gets into somebody else's bark and it just happens to be dry because they're not watering their lawn or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've seen it actually happen with just sun before, where it set
Okay.
like the
So
bark
if
on
they
fire.
have a lid on it, then isn't that the point of the lid, is to prevent? Do you know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
I've seen those type. I know what type of fire pits you're talking about. I mean, ember still will come out the bottom though. You know what I mean? Like it's still a fire hazard that I'm not willing to, because there's usually like mesh around it, right?
Mine
Like you
is
can put a lid on
now.
it, but there's like mesh around it too that embers can still come out of, and that's what I'm concerned about. Like I really just I want to make sure it's clear here that this isn't like to target anybody or anything like that. This is like a pure safety standpoint. Like, our houses, like between our house and our next door neighbor's house, there's less than 6 feet. Like if our house goes up in flames, theirs is going to go up too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and that's something that that we really need to be conscious of in this community, especially because of the way that the plat was designed and how close all these houses are to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, and you have to know too that it's the fire code, and if the fire marshal were to drive through and see that, they could fine you, the homeowner, or the HOA in and of themselves if a fire marshal were to drive through and see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that brings me to my last question, which could end up being a long one, is when you started saying the rules and regulations, you said that the rules and regulations were to define the CCNRs,
Yes.
right? So how many of the new rules are actually defining what is already in the CCNRs? How many of them are just new ones that were added in there? And how many of them are Washington state laws?
The Washington state law we're required to follow regardless. So just to get me really clear about that, we are required to follow Washington state law. We're required to follow federal
So if
law.
I break the law, you can fine me and the state can fine me. So an officer can come here and I can be fined, and then you can additionally make money off of that as well. Is
Yes.
And
Because
that's
in the
legal.
CCNRs, the board is given authority to impose any fines that we deem reasonable for things for enforcing the CCNRs. As
right, but
far as
that's not in the CCNRs. That's
it
so you
very clearly says in the CCRs that the board has the authority to impose any fines.
right. But you
So
said as defined in the CCNRs.
yeah,
So if you break a rule that's in the CCNRs, then you'd be fined. But if you break a law,
well, that's the thing though, is most of the CCNRs is already following the law. So the things that like that we are kind of clarifying, like for example, the parking.
mhm.
Well, this kind of stuff, like, we know that the cops are not going to come in and police our parking. We know that that's not going to happen because we're a private road. But at the same time, this for us is the fairest way to enforce parking without targeting anybody, without making up rules that would go against the Washington state law, because we can't have a rule that goes against the Washington state law, because we're still required as an association, as an incorporated association in Washington state, to follow Washington state law.
Right. So I guess my issue with it is, if there's the see something, say something.
Mhm.
And so if you see somebody breaking a law, you should be reporting them. And
Right.
the law enforcement should be enforcing the law and penalizing those who aren't following it,
Mhm.
But as a homeowner, it looks like, or it seems as though you guys have added some Washington state laws in there and then said, well, we're going to fine you for them. But that's something that the state should be doing, not the HOA.
Okay, so when it comes to parking, we have the authority within the community, in the CCNR.
I'm not
Oh, no, I
specifying
know. I'm just
parking,
giving you an
but-
example. That's all I'm doing. So for the parking, we're given the authority by the CCNRs to decide where on our roads people are allowed to park, because the roads are owned by the community association. It's not owned by the individual homeowner. Like if you look at your house, your lot lines don't go out to the middle of the road. Like the
Right.
road is actually owned by the community. So for that, we are allowed to define, what available space in a garage is. We're allowed to define where people can park, where they can't park, that kind of stuff. So we can say, like, hey, you can't park on the common areas. So like over by, like if you were to pull up your, a truck
in the
up
park
by
or something.
by one of the parks or something like
Yeah.
that, you can't do that, obviously. So that's why we have that in there. So in terms of, we're not, all these rules and everything, what we did, and I can give you our process for this, is we went through Exhibit B of the CCNRs line by line and defined every single thing that was mentioned in Exhibit B that needed to be defined. So none of these rules are adding anything to the CCNRs. These are all things that you have to follow anyway, or in the CCRs need to be further defined. So that way there's no question of, like, oh, well, what's, the playground's common area, but we are also allowed to charge a fee if you want to have like a big ass party there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're allowed to charge a fee because that's actually clearly outlined in the CCNR. So we are defining what that fee is. For the parking, we're defining where you can park, who can park where, like that kind of stuff. And trying to make sure, we're trying to keep people on their property as much as possible by saying, we want you to park an available space in a garage first before parking in your driveway, before asking for a variance to park on the street. So there's that. The pets, that's in the Exhibit B. Signs is in Exhibit B. Business activities is in Exhibit B. The garage sales, like this is just controlling the amount of people that are coming in here all the time, because we do have gates and we want to make sure that we are being aware of what our, of the traffic that's in here for our other neighbors.
Right.
So there's that. The street trees, that's also an Exhibit B of the covenants. The rentals, it says in the covenants that we are allowed to restrict rentals if we want to. And so that's what this whole thing is what our rules are for restricting rentals.
I was talking more about not things that are obviously in the CCNRs that are being better, explained,
Mhm.
but the ones where you were like, and you can see RCW such and such for the Washington state law.
Yeah.
It just seems that, and I asked this question, I'm not like, I'm challenging you, but it's because I'm not the only homeowner that has these questions.
No, I understand.
And so it just, for some of us, it's just like, let law enforcement enforce the laws and let the HOA enforce the CCNRs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get what you're saying, but we still have to follow the law. You know what I mean? Like it's up to us to police our own community.
Mm-hmm.
Because the police won't come in because it's a private road. So that's where I think the disconnect is happening, because we are a private road and the community owns the roads in the community. So the HOA owns the roads in the community. So it's up to us to put those rules forward, so that way they're being followed in the community. And we can, because the thing too is, like I said, you know, if we call, like just as an example for the quiet hours thing, right? So we could fine you, like we put in there that we would fine you if we keep getting complaints about, you know, your house continuously being loud, or, you know, or whatever from your neighbors. We know that if you call Pierce County Sheriff, if you call the non-emergency line, they will not come out unless they get 3 phone calls in a night from separate people. So the thing is that if we go by that, because we know that Pierce County Sheriff is already overextended as it is, you know, because they're covering a huge area. Pierce County is really large, and it goes all the way down to Roy, you know, all the way up to Edgewood,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. So they have a really large area of unincorporated Pierce County that they're trying to police. So for situations like that, you know, like 99% of the time, law enforcement's not going to do anything. So so the neighbor that's causing the problem is going to keep doing it. They're going to keep having loud parties every night, you know, like that kind of thing. So so that's our way of being able to regulate some of that too.
Right.
So
I guess where do you draw the line at being an HOA board member and being law enforcement?
well, we're not law enforcement, but the
You're
thing is, the CCNRs are the
enforcing-
vehicle. The CCNRs are the vehicle that gives us the approval to do these
The
exact things.
CCNRs, yes.
Yeah.
But there were other rules that were mentioned that are not in the CCNRs.
Yeah, because the RCWs, we have to follow that. So we're just putting that in here so that way everybody knows, like, hey, we're still beholden to the law.
Don't we as homeowners have to follow that, and then the law holds us responsible for?
Well, these are just reminders. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to have those reminders. I mean, there's things that I honestly didn't know about that I had to look up. You know what I mean?
Is it just a reminder though, or if we continue to break it, then we get fined for it?
Well, I have a feeling I know what you're referring to, because are you referring to the dirt bikes?
No.
No? Okay. What exactly are you referring
to? Though. No, I'm over that already.
So what exactly are you referring to, this like right here, like the state parking restrictions?
I can't see your screen for some reason. But for instance,
hold on. Let me see if I can do it now. Oh, nope.
The fire pit.
Okay.
So there's nothing in the CCNRs about having a fire pit or what is or isn't acceptable with a fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
So now we no longer can have them for homeowners that have had them for years. You know, people have lived here since the development was built. But now it's being put into the rules and regulations that you can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, you're going to be fined for it, for having it. But then if the fire marshal has a problem with it, or your neighbor calls the fire marshal and says, you know, they're going to burn my house down or what have you, then the fire marshal comes out and he should be the one to take care of it.
Okay. Well, let me see here.
But also the fire marshal can go after the HOA for allowing it in the first place.
Yeah.
I can't comment to that because I would have to do more research on that.
Well, remember, rules are always changed from year to year by the county and the state.
Mm-hmm.
And a judge will always tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Let's see.
Fred, say that last part again.
Not knowing the law is not an excuse is what a judge would tell you.
Right, and then the judge would then enforce a fine.
Yes, but we're
And that's
allowed
where
this.
I'm saying, where's the in-between on where the HOA or where law enforcement? Because we can't be both.
No, the HOA is just setting a standard so that the community has a standard. So we're all not fighting each other over different rules or different thoughts about the rule. It's defining a rule. It's like when you
Defining
go
the
to,
law at that point.
So just a quick thought on this, since all these rules are going to go to the lawyer for legal review, I think this should be a specific thing that gets asked of the lawyer to clarify it all, because they're going to be the best position. I don't think any of us are lawyers.
no,
Okay, so what I'll do then is when I send this up for legal review,
And if you send me the rules and regs, I know that there was more than one, but I didn't write it down.
okay,
I just put RCWs on my
Okay.
paper and didn't put the actual ones I had questions on.
okay. So when we put forth for legal review, I'll put down specifically, because I know there were sections that you've brought up before, but I'll put down specifically to, can we put the RCWs? Can we enforce the law, basically, is what you're asking, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, and I just had a quick question or comment on that. So, and just to understand as well, the rest of the community that are voicing it out here, are what people are saying is that they prefer for us to call the cops on them than for us to go knock on the door and say, hey, you know, it's been a while. You've been doing it a couple of times already. Can you tone it down? They would prefer for us to call like the fire marshal for them to get in trouble.
No, they would prefer not to have the HOA be enforcing laws and fining them for it. Because what it looks like is that the HOA has added these laws in and said, oh, if you break the law, we can get more money. Like, it's already a law. We know to follow the law. If you don't, then you have the potential of getting a ticket or worse for it. But it looks like the HOA is now piggybacking on that to try to, you know, make a come up, really.
So
And
in
I
a
think
nutshell,
for the-
it sounds like you just don't want to get in trouble twice. Is that kind of the gist, is people don't want to get in trouble twice for the same thing?
I suppose, or maybe more of a like, do your job and let them do theirs.
And that's, I think,
That's a good question, and I will bring that up. But
remember an HOA is a lot like a club. When you sign on to the club, you agree to a certain set of rules that may not be exactly the same as the law.
Albert,
right.
Yeah.
But then you have to also remember that the rules are being changed. So the people that live here currently right now, those aren't the rules that they signed up for. And we can't just say, okay, I don't want to be a part of this club anymore, because, I mean, you have to sell your house and,
well,
you know,
here's
can you
another
just
thing
opt
too,
out
to
of
keep
the
in
club
mind.
but still live here.
Yeah. Oh, well, another thing to keep in mind too is that, you know, everybody who bought a house in this community signed a PUD rider. It's a planned unit development rider that states that that you agree to both pay the assessments and follow the rules, basically. The CCNRs have never changed. These have always been the same.
Right.
So the rules are meant to be a working document. So like, even, you know, like once I'm long gone and off the board, you know, like the future boards will be working on the rules, and things can be adjusted as things go down the line. You know, like an issue might come up that has never been an issue before, and they can develop a rule. You know, like if it's something that's kind of murky in the CCNRs, they can develop a rule that further clarifies it, that will stop that action from happening again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something too. So just know, I mean, like and this is the case with every single HOA that's out there. The rules are a working document. It is never finished.
And you know, going on those notes, that's I think where the miscommunication is, because I'm speaking for myself only.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer a $25 fine over a $350 fine. Like if they call the fire marshal on me for having that pit that's illegal to have here or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that I would prefer for somebody to tell me, hey, here's a $25 fine, and remember, the fire marshal can come and give you a $350 fine for having this.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I wanted to get the connection.
Okay.
Well, see, the rules are there so we don't have to get the law involved.
Mm-hmm. And that's the
You know,
hope too.
to hope not to have the law involved.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how y'all feel, but, I don't particularly care to deal with the police or the government unless I actually have to.
Hmm.
And, if you have a rule, at least, there's a rule.
Oh, and just Amanda, I'm looking at the CCNRs right now, and in Exhibit B, item B20, no open air burning or use of wood stoves is permitted except in compliance with local jurisdiction of ordinances. However, outdoor cooking facilities such as barbecues are permissible subject to rules, regulations, and local jurisdiction ordinances. And that's another reason, because the CCNR specifically refer us back to local jurisdiction ordinances and the law. So that's another reason why for the ones that we're clarifying that I have a feeling might be, might rub people the wrong way, that kind of thing. We're not trying to target anybody again. We are required to follow the law. We're required to have rules that fall in line with the law. So we need to make sure that, because it says specifically in here that we need to follow local jurisdiction ordinances. So for us to cite that is part of what our job is.
The CCNRs.
Yeah.
And
So
I think
CCNRs, like
that-
I said, it's Exhibit B,
I think you said.
Section B, number 20. And that's the one on burning specifically.
And it's also good for us that are out of staters to get these kind of reminders, because, like, for example, I drove up the other day. I'm from California, and I drove up the other day, and everybody was washing their car, and that's like totally illegal in California. And so for me to see that, I was like, whoa, wait a second, can you do that here? And
Yeah.
obviously afterwards they started talking on the page and everything, and I noticed that it's cool to do it here, just like the fireworks and all those things. So it's good for us to be informed, because rules and the law is different for each state. And I know that obviously construction, the houses that are here are the newer ones where there's newer people, probably first time homeowners, that we have to, learn those rules and regulations.
Mhm.
May 1st, you'll see the water conservation paperwork come out the next week or two.
Yeah. Radio Review always sends out something for the for water conservation. It's not, Albert, it's not as bad as it is in California, because like there always seems to be something going on in California with restrictions on watering your lawns and stuff like that because of drought. But they still have like they recommend watering every other day for 20 minutes a day, like that kind of thing. So so there's that kind of thing. So yeah, but Amanda, to answer your question, they do mention it specifically in the CCNRs that we have to follow local jurisdiction and ordinances.
Right.
So, and because they mentioned that in there, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for us to, to be like, hey, this is the RCW that we're referring to when we say that we can't do this. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like Albert said, the fine, if you actually get caught doing something illegal from the state, is going to be much more severe than it would be from us.
Oh, I thought that was
So,
that.
Judy, I don't want to interrupt, but looking at the time, it's 8:00, and we have some other big items on the agenda to get to. Could we table this to the 30-day comment period for now?
Well, hold on. Let me make sure nobody else has any more comments. Did you have anything else, Amanda? Was that it?
No, that was it.
Okay.
If I
Anybody
come up
else?
with anything, I'll let you guys know.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, are you sending the rules and regulations out, or is it going to be on the HOA page for?
I'm gonna put it on the web page, because it's public facing. Everybody will be able to see it.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put it on the web page. I'll also post it on the Facebook page, and then I'll have it sent out in the blast email too, so that way everybody has access to it. Is anybody that's on the call? Does anybody have anything to add for the rules or anything like that, or any comments? No? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask for okay, so I'm going to move to approve the spending to send this forward for legal review.
Second.
Okay.
Is that an hourly fee?
Yes. And I think at the most it was like $65 an hour or something like that. So, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So moving on, we're going to go on to management contract and bids. So basically, we got 3 different bids. We have a bid from the Management Trust, which is a very big management company here in this area. So we got a bid from them. We got a bid from Great West, and we also got a bid from J&M. So hold on just a second. So looking at the contract comparisons, during our executive meeting, we talked about this a little bit. We have different. Great West is going to charge us, and this is what it's going to come down to is money, I guess, in the end. Great West is going to charge us $2,200 a month. We did ask them that we want them to be in attendance at all meetings because they right now it's only 4 meetings a year and the annual meeting that they're required to be in attendance. And I think it's important to have management there as first of all, as a buffer between the board and the community, and then also. I think it's important for them to be there to like deliver the financial report and be able to answer any financial questions that come up. So there's that. So we did ask for that. So it actually raised the price of how much Great West is going to cost us per year. And we also asked for on-site property visits. So it would be 1 visit per month from October to May, and then 2 visits per month from June to September. And that's basically just to check like landscaping and stuff like that to make sure people aren't letting their lawns get overgrown with weeds and stuff like that. So there's that. J&M, their price point is $2,196.55 a month. They would attend 13 meetings a year, once per month, an annual meeting. They do all the normal stuff that the management company does, like collect all the fees and stuff like that. They process and file liens, that kind of stuff, and maintain individual homeowner account records. So that's from J&M. And just as a reminder for anybody who wasn't here before, J&M is the management company that we were with before our current management company. And then finally, the Management Trust is going to cost $2,375 a month. They are the most expensive, but they will be attending 13 meetings a year. So that's every, 1 meeting a month plus the annual meeting. They do all the normal collection of assessments and all that kind of stuff. And sending notices, processing and filing liens, that kind of thing, CCNR and rules enforcement. A few things that I want to point out that I really like about the Management Trust is if you get a notice from them that you violated one of the rules, it will come with a picture of it. And that's something that we're not getting right now. So the notice will have like a picture on it with a form like, this is the rule that you violated, please correct this within the next 14 days. So I really like that. And they will also provide that report to the board members so we can see exactly what all the violations are and that kind of thing. They assist in the development of the annual budget. A problem that we've run into the past 2 budgets, is that we were presented with deficit budgets, and I don't ever want to see that again, because that shows that we don't know how to budget, basically. And so I think that it's important for us to have balanced budgets going forward, and that's something that they would be able to help us with. Another thing too is that right now we are paying our dues semi-annually. So we're paying $466 over the year, but it's $233 in January and $233 in July. I personally think it's easier for people to pay per month, because it's easier to budget in $35 a month than it is to budget in, $466 a year, or $233 every 6 months or whatever. So, and that's kind of nice that they do that. They also offer online paying. They do the blast emails and stuff like that too. They're really good about enforcement. And they're a part of the, the Communication Associations Institute. So basically, they let us know about any conferences they have up in Seattle and stuff like that for us to go to kind of network with other HOAs and stuff like that. They also train HOA members. So they train HOA members on what the CCNRs do. They train them on how to interpret the bylaws, that kind of stuff, which actually is really nice, because it actually lets us avoid a lot of legal fees unless we absolutely have to get a legal opinion on something. So that's kind of nice too. So looking at all of these, I know what the community's feelings are about J&M. I don't think it would be prudent for us to go back to them. Great West has been awesome. Given what they were given, in the beginning, they've done a really great job. However, I feel like, they are one office with 5 people and they just don't have the resources for a community our size. We know that we're their largest community. And they manage mostly apartments and condo buildings. And so, like for our needs, I don't think that Great West can offer that to us. The Management Trust manages a lot of very large communities in this area. They have a lot of resources at their disposal, and they are they're expansive. They manage communities all along the West Coast, so which is nice. So what I would propose is to change our management company. I want to hear back from the board members to see if there's any dissent at all, or if you guys are on board with that.
I'm absolutely on board.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Okay.
It's
All right,
it's an HOA management.
It is.
Brings they bring a whole bunch of stuff that we can't get from a regular management company.
I think the homeowner questions are going to be, if we're spending more money, is it going to be costing the homeowners more money? And if so, when is that going to be and what does that look like?
It definitely, well, I mean, we already talked before. Hold on a second. Sergio, did you have something you wanted to say? Paul just texted me that Sergio was trying to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the audio doesn't. His audio doesn't seem to be working.
Oh, okay.
I see him talking, but there's no sound coming through from his connection.
Okay, hold on.
I wonder if he
don't
can
even
hear us. Maybe he's muted.
No, I checked
don't
it.
even
won't
see
let me.
him.
I think that's what my question is like, what's that going to cost us?
Okay, so right now it's not going to increase costs right away. We have already talked before in the past about having to raise dues in this next budget cycle anyway, because our reserves are still, even with adding the extra money that we did to it last year and stuff, they're still woefully underfunded, and we have to get another reserve study done this summer too. So initially, it's not going to cost us anything more. We've been very, very good, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Thank you, Fred. We've been awesome about staying way under budget on especially the landscaping stuff. Like he goes through and he's been cleaning out the catch basins, examining the ponds, the retention ponds and stuff like that, which is stuff that we would normally have to pay people to do. So as we look at the budget for next year, I think that if there is going to be a rise in the dues, it's not going to be much. Like I would say at most maybe $10 per year. So it's, like I said, and we have to contribute to those reserves though. So that's something to keep in mind. But I think we're actually looking pretty good for not.
$1 a month.
I'm sorry, what?
Less than $1 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking. I don't
That
think
makes
it's going
more
to be
sense.
more. I'm sorry, say that again?
That makes more sense. $1 a month makes sense that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's the way I've been trying to look at it too. Like I said, with the Management Trust, they're going to, I've asked them already, if we switch to you guys, I would like to do monthly payments instead of the semi-annually, because I can see just by looking at the financial reports that there is a problem with people paying semi-annually. It's
Yeah,
too
no,
much
I agree
of a
with that.
strain on their budget. Yeah. So, and I think it's easier for people to budget monthly than it is for them to budget
100%,
semi-annually.
yep.
So, yeah. So, so that's what I want to do there. Does anybody else have any questions about the management or anything like that? Let me see here. That's really weird. Okay. Sergio,
By the
are
way,
you
it's
there?
Amy.
Okay. Okay. Sergio or Rachel, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can see on the video that they're still talking, but the audio is not coming through from Sergio and Rachel.
Okay.
It keeps saying it trying to connect to audio, but it's not actually connecting, unfortunately.
Okay. So,
Just have him log out and log back in real quick.
well, I think they're on their phone, so they might have to. Hey, can you guys, can you hang up and call back in? And we'll see if we can get you on, because I want to hear what they have to say, so. Yes, I don't know what's going on there. Okay. Yeah, they just hung up. So I think they're going to call back in. In the meantime, does anybody else have anything that they want to say about the management or anything like that?
Well, remember, for the members who don't know, HOA, there's questions with the CCNR's rules or anything. They're the people who've done this for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and that, that they're instantly there if you need them.
Yeah. Well, they're very knowledgeable, which is really a relief. So it's like they know what they're doing. I've seen them work, so that helps with that.
And they're up to date on when the state changes its rules.
Right.
Did we also lose Amanda?
Yeah, she's coming back. Sergio, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
She'll be right
Okay,
back.
cool. Okay, did you have a question?
Yeah, earlier, before we moved into the management company topic, we were wondering, so you mentioned during one of the rules and regulations that if we needed to use the park, there was going to be a fee for it. And our question is, so that means the entire park is for us, or I need more clarification.
Okay, so for the park, you would only need to pay a fee if you're planning on having like a really large party there. So like, let's say like, for my kid's like 8th birthday, if I wanted to have like 50 people at the park, then I would have to expect to pay that fine or pay the fee. So I guess that's a good question actually, because you're bringing up something that we should probably clarify in the rules there.
We need to clarify insurance.
Well, insurance.
If,
we said no bouncy houses or anything like that.
okay, if somebody gets hurt though,
Yeah, well,
that would fall on us.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's something too that, we can put in like the, if they're going to need the park, if they're trying to reserve the park for a really large party, then we can say like, hey, we need to sign this waiver that indemnifies us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but that's a good point. So we need to clarify sizes of parties.
And give a sample notice.
Yeah. Okay. Sergio, did you have anything else?
Yeah, what would that notice look like? I mean, how long in advance? A year in advance? 3 months? 6 months? A week?
Oh, I would say probably not more than
2 weeks.
2 weeks maybe. I mean.
So if we have like 20 people over and we open up the back gate to the park, we have to give you guys 2 weeks notice to have that back gate open, and then we pay $50. Do we get the $50 back? Is it just a holder's fee? If there's nothing wrong with the park, do we get the $50 back? Like if you were renting any other?
I wouldn't have a problem giving it back because it's just a deposit to say you're going to clean it up.
Okay. So we need to clarify.
And you'll pay for any damage.
Okay.
So then our question is, then the park would be ours, so we wouldn't have to worry about other people coming to the park and them having something and then us having to say, well, that wasn't part of our party.
Oh, that's a good point.
That was the original question.
Yeah.
Because how do you manage other people coming to the park?
Well, it comes down to like the county does with its parks, I guess. They still have people using the park, and you can choose a portion that you want, and we just say separate it out. I mean,
Or maybe put like a poster board, a reader board up saying, for the month of July, so-and-so person has a party this day, just so people would know then not to, the park is unavailable. Just a thought.
You know what this kind of reminds me of is like in Point Defiance Park. Like you can reserve it, but there's like a pavilion, you know what I mean? So you'd have that pavilion, but there's also other, the public's coming in to like just play at the playgrounds and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
we don't
But
have
those
a
parks,
pavilion.
you're not renting the playground though. You're renting a certain
Yeah, you're
space.
renting the pavilion. You're right. Yeah.
We're renting the pavilion, which we don't have.
Right.
Yeah, so if it's just that on the green patch, how do we, what is the potential of the harm of the green patch that we're putting $50 down for, and then how do we manage that, okay, this is our party, we've paid $50 to be here.
Okay. Fred?
Because we're not
This-
renting anything, it's free land out there.
this charging for the park was your idea, Fred, so.
Well, no.
Because we're already paying, by paying my dues month after month, or every 6 months, or every year, however we decide to do it, I'm allowed to use those premises. So I'm confused.
On what I'm paying for.
Well, the
That's a
thing
good
is,
point.
There's no hookup, there's no-
the thing is there, we could probably do a sign up on that, and we have 2 parks. You know, they can, whichever park you want to use, but they could always, you know, you wouldn't have an all day party, would you?
So again, what am I paying for with the homeowners association dues if I can't use the park? My understanding was that I'm already paying for that green area.
I think part of the issue too is that if there's a large group of people who are taking over or something like that, the other residents wouldn't be able to use that when they're paying for it as well. So you're going to have a bunch of people who are not paying to use that space, using up the space.
But then you have
So can
your
we then
homeowner
get
that-
rid, sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, I was going to say you have your homeowner that has rented that space that now can't enjoy their party because they have to police it to keep not only other children in our neighborhood, but we know that the trailer park kids come over too. So that does put the homeowner in, I get where you're coming from, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I
I
said,
think that's, again, we should all be responsible for our community. And if you decide to have a little get together on the green area, obviously, I guess it makes sense. If you damage it, you have to fix it. But I don't know, this 2 weeks situation and the fee, I mean, if there's a fee that we need to pay, fine. I just need to be I need more clarification on what it is that I'm entitled for with the $50 fee.
I understand what you're saying. So that's something we're going to
And what
review.
is my homeowner's fee?
Judy,
What is my
and just
homeowner's
to
fee?
put the 2 cents that we used to have. So California, we used to have the same thing, the exact same situation where we had a park that was at our disposal. And if you wanted to, we had a gazebo with a little board that was, you know, they would put this to sign who rented that board. And it's just a retainer's fee that we used to pay.
Yeah.
And it is exactly for what Fred was just saying. It's
Yeah.
literally to make sure, and unfortunately, I agree to this because it seems that because of what we've seen here, we have to enforce something like this. Obviously, you guys, not we, you guys, because we can't, unfortunately, make sure that everybody's going to clean up for themselves.
Yeah.
And the $50.
No, but I'm not. Sorry,
No,
go
I
ahead.
know. And where I'm going with this is literally what they're saying is you're going to put you're entitled because you're paying your HOAs. You're totally entitled. It's totally right what you're saying. But then the retainer fee is literally just to make sure, hey, you already cleaned up for yourself. And I totally agree. You can't keep others from coming to the park because they're there. You can't tell them, hey, it's a private party, please leave, when they're paying their HOA. So that's where it gets a little tricky. But the 50 is literally just to make sure, hey, cleaned, everything's good. Here's your $50 back.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too.
And I'm not opposed to the retainer fee whatsoever, and I'm not opposed to the rule. I just needed more clarification.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's something I'm actually really glad that you brought that up. So we can clarify that. I'll make sure that I note to clarify.
So are we clarifying what exactly it covers?
Yeah,
Like,
we already
is
have in there that
your-
it covers like any kind of maintenance or anything that we need to fix.
No, I
So
mean, like,
we'll
as
make
far as what area is yours as opposed to the one what anybody can use? Like, if it's just the green area, but anybody can be at the park?
Well, I mean, we can't. That's the thing is we can't stop other kids from going to play at the park because I can see.
You can't stop the
That
other
is correct.
owners.
Right.
Because I can see parents getting really upset if they're, you know.
So then the
You know,
homeowner that
Definitely.
rented and paid the $50 would not be held responsible for any damages to the park during their rental time.
Well, I guess it would depend. Like, we can actually have on the application like which area of the park they want. You know what I mean? So that way we know where to look. you know, to see if there's any damage or anything. And then, but I'm okay, Sergio, I'm okay with having the $50 be a deposit, basically, that would be refunded as long as there's no damage. Does that make sense?
Okay, that completely brings more clarity, because earlier
Okay,
it was
good.
just like, oh, there's going to be a $50 fee, and it was not referred as a retainer or a deposit.
Yeah, well, see, and this is exactly why we wanted to invite public comment on this too. So,
I love it, and I love the participation. Thank you, guys.
oh, thank you.
We
I think
appreciate you. Thank you.
that's a really good point, that we need to make sure that other kids, if they're coming to that premises where we're having that party, if we were to have that party, they're not damaging, and now we will be responsible for that. I think that's $50. I mean, $50, right? Honestly, it's not a big issue. The issue is we can't prevent other kids from coming to the park if we're having that reservation time,
Yeah.
and then we damage that part. I don't think we've had an issue like that here before, but then it's worth the while just look.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really good point, specifically just talking about the main priority, the number one priority of our homeowner association, to keep the property value. Obviously, it makes sense. If I invite someone over to have a party and they damage it, it's on me.
Yeah,
Regardless if it's only the $50 retainer. If it costs me $500 to repair the grass that they damage, it's on me.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Because our number one priority, as it was stated earlier, is to keep the property values up.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
it.
perfect. Okay, well, thank you for bringing that up, because that means that we can clarify that a little bit better. But yeah, like I said, this is exactly why we wanted to get public comment on this, so that we can clarify parts that might not be as clear. You know, if there's something that, you know, like all 223 people in this neighborhood are upset about, you know, obviously we're not, you know, we can figure something out there, you know, that kind of thing. So, so there's that. Was there anything else on the rules that you wanted to talk about, or with management?
No, that was
Okay.
the only question that I had, and I apologize, I couldn't. You guys couldn't hear me.
Oh, it's
again.
okay. Yeah, no, if I had known, then I would have stopped earlier to let you call back in. So, okay.
Thank you for
So
I don't know if
participating.
we weren't on earlier. I'm just curious if there was anything on parking.
yes, there was actually. We're going to be posting all of the rules. I don't know if you heard this before, but we're going to be posting them all online so you guys can review them. Basically, parking is going to be, there's automatic variances, just to give the rundown. A variance is an exception to the rule. So there's an automatic variance for anybody with a one-car garage, because those are all 3-bedroom houses too, and we want to make sure there's at least the same number of parking spots per bedroom, if that makes sense. So like if they're like, you know, like our house is a 4-bedroom house, so we have 2 parking spots in our garage and 2 in our driveway. So there's 4 parking spots, 1 car for each bedroom, basically. Like that was the logic.
Original intent.
Yeah. So so there's that. Visitors, if they're going to be here for more than 72 consecutive hours, then they would need to get a parking pass. And the parking passes do cost money. So if there is going to be, if it gets lost, or if you don't return it to us for whatever reason, you'll be assessed $5 for the parking pass. And then anybody can apply for a variance. Like if you have, you know, 2 teenagers in your house and yourself, and you know, and your parents are living with you, you know, like that kind of thing. If we have one of those kinds of situations where you need to have variances to park on the street, then you can. But for the most part, the big thing is to follow the Washington state law in terms of parking and the rules of the road. So I hope that makes sense. But like I said, all this stuff was going to be up online, so you guys will be able to look at it at your own leisure, without hearing, you know, my rundown of it. So. I don't even know how to ask.
Is there an intent to put like parking pass return drop boxes or something by the gates, or someplace for people to drop them off?
We can. I think that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, we'd have to look into that.
Yeah. So so we could do that. Yeah.
Like for the guest passes?
Yeah, for the guest passes, and then because obviously for the variances, if you're asking to park on the street permanently, then you wouldn't need it. So, but yeah, no, that's a good idea. All right. So, was there any other questions about the rules or about management? No. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I think that on board the management trust. So I'm going to move that we sign our contract with the management trust.
So second it.
Second.
Judy, did we confirm that there was no, we weren't going to get penalized from our current management company?
Yes, I did. I actually sent a very specific email and I said, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm reading this contract right, that we will not have a financial burden to you if we should decide to go with somebody else. And she said, yes, that's correct. So we are 100% on board there. Okay, so all in favor of changing to the management trust?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, so I will get in touch with Mark at the Management Trust in the next week. I think he's going to set up like an onboarding meeting with the board sometime in the next couple of weeks, and it'll be a virtual meeting too, so we'll figure out what works best for all of us. I think that we're going to be very happy with this change.
Judy, did you mention, or do you want to talk about the fee structure collection, that how this will be different from for fines, or?
What do you, oh, for in the rules?
Well, I mean, for fines on how that's currently being collected with our current.
Well, right now there's nothing being collected because management was asked not to collect any fines.
Yeah, how it's listed in their contract or anything, or.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So another thing too that I just want to mention, we've already voted on it and we're switching, but something that the management trust had mentioned in their contract was that they take 50% of all the fines. And that's something that I'm not on board with, because I don't think that's okay. Like, so let's say we have somebody who owes, you know, like $5,000 in back, you know, assessments. They would be able to take
You mean Great West?
Yeah, Great Westwood, yeah, would be able to take 2,500
yeah.
of it. And that's not something that I like. So I think that this is going to be financially better for us and just better for us overall. So picnic tables for parks. Fred, I'm going to ask that we table this until after the management switch.
Okay.
Would that be okay? Okay,
Yeah,
so.
no, I was just doing it for you because you asked about it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it was something that we were looking into, because I know that that it's been mentioned by homeowners before that they wanted to see like a picnic table would be nice. So.
Yeah, picnic tables and a barbecue or something.
Okay, so I'm going to move that we move the picnic tables
Down the road.
Yeah.
Let's get past this COVID thing and then we'll.
Oh, we're done with the COVID already. Okay, so picnic tables down the road. So I'm going to move that we table picnic tables until after the management switch. Can I get a second? Okay.
Second.
Who seconded?
I did, Zach.
Okay. All of you did. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. All right, so that is it then. I mean, is there anything else that any of the homeowners want to bring up, or that might have been calling in late? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. So I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Do we have a need for an executive session today? I don't think so.
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Oh, you do? Okay. Okay, so we're going to adjourn the meeting now. So anybody who is not on the board, please hop off. And thank you very much. It is 8:31.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, I hop off for the meeting, so.
We make sure that
Turn my
we,
volume off though.
what?
If I leave it, the meeting ends because it's getting hosted on my account. So I'll turn my volume off so I'm not listening to your executive session.
Okay, thank
But
you.
it's still going to be getting recorded. So
Okay, well,
you guys
Can
might wanna
you
jump off.
flip
can we
it
hang
out?
up and then call back in?
Hi, Mommy.
Hi,
Well,
baby.
well, what I would say is maybe adjourn it, and then I can create a different meeting that doesn't get recorded for you to use as the executive session.
Okay, well, I can just do that too, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna adjourn and then check your emails really quick because I'm gonna send a link to a meeting, okay?
So leave out of this one?
Yeah, leave out of this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you need to
all right,
officially.
talk to you in a minute.
I'm not going to leave this one.
Okay, bye.
You need to officially adjourn your meeting
Oh, okay, well, I did. It adjourned at 2031.
to executive session.
Oh, well, yeah, we adjourned the meeting to executive session at 2031, so,
Okay, whatever.
okay.